Andie Anderson, a witty and ambitious magazine writer, sat at her favorite cafe, scribbling notes for her next article. Today's challenge: how to lose a girl in 10 days. She smirked at the absurdity. Her love life was already a mess, so why not make it even messier for someone else? Across the cafe, Andie Bri, a confident and charming advertising executive, caught Andie's eye. Bri had that effortless aura that made people notice her, the kind of presence that could turn a simple coffee run into a story. Andie's pen paused mid-sentence. This was going to be interesting. Their eyes met. Andie felt that familiar flutter of curiosity, and Bri flashed a grin that suggested she knew exactly what she was doing. Neither of them realized that the next 10 days would be full of chaos, laughter, and unexpected attraction. Andie Anderson had a problem. Her editor at Composure magazine had just handed her the newest assignment. Write an article on 10 ways to drive a girl away in 10 days. You start tomorrow. Andie stared at the screen. 10 days? Really? She didn't have a girl to test it on. Yet. That was about to change. Enter Andie Bri. Bri was everything Andie was not. Confident, charming, effortlessly magnetic. Andie first noticed her in a coffee shop, laughing at something on her phone, and before she could stop herself, she felt a flutter in her chest. Andie's plan formed almost immediately. Bri would be her unwitting subject. It was supposed to be a game, a professional experiment, but already, something about Bri made Andie's heart beat faster than logic allowed. The next morning, Andie accidentally ran into Bri at a networking event. Bri greeted her with that same mischievous smile that had haunted Andie all night. "Fancy seeing you here," Bri said. Andie smiled back, trying to keep it casual. But inside, her brain was spinning. Step 1, be slightly annoying. Step 2, not get distracted. Andie started small, oversharing quirky habits, laughing too loudly, pretending to forget things. Bri, however, seemed entertained. In fact, she teased Andie back, matching every awkward move with charm. By the end of the night, Andie realized 2 things. Bri was harder to push away than she expected. She didn't want to push her away at all. And just like that, the game began, but neither of them realized that the rules were about to be rewritten by something far more unpredictable: genuine attraction. Andie was taking her 10 ways to drive Bri away assignment seriously. Step 1, clinginess. She texted Bri incessantly, sent overly dramatic good morning selfies, and even crafted a fake obsession with horoscopes. Bri's reaction? Laughing. Not irritated laughing. Are you trying to scare me off? Or are you this charmingly ridiculous all the time? Bri asked over coffee, smirking. Andie felt her face heat up. Every attempt to annoy Bri only made her more magnetic. Step 2, jealousy. Andie casually mentioned a coworker she might be interested in, only for Bri to roll her eyes. Is that supposed to bother me? Bri teased, leaning closer. Andie realized the closer she pushed, the closer Bri leaned in. Andie's professional plan was collapsing. Every move she made to push Bri away only drew them closer. By the end of the week, she was laughing at her own ridiculousness and secretly hoping the game would never end. Bri, for her part, had her own challenge. She had bet that she could make someone fall for her in 10 days. But with Andie, the rules didn't seem to apply. She found herself noticing every little thing. The way Andie tucked her hair behind her ear, her quirky laugh, the subtle smirk when she thought she was hiding her feelings. During a Friday night dinner, Bri teased Andie mercilessly over her latest annoying habit, making Andie laugh until she nearly spilled her wine. Andie caught Bri's eyes lingering a second too long and froze. "Why am I actually enjoying this?" Andie muttered to herself. The cracks in their carefully constructed games were showing. The tension was electric, playful, and undeniably romantic. Both knew they were supposed to be manipulating each other. But somewhere between awkward texts, playful teasing, and accidental touches, they had started wanting something real. By day 5, Andie had officially given up trying to push Bri away. Her 10 ways plan had turned into a series of ridiculous stunts, leaving passive-aggressive notes, acting overly dramatic about our relationship, timeline, and even faking an obsession with yoga retreats. Bri, ever the playful counter, began turning the tables. She bought Andie small gifts to calm her ridiculous nerves, sent cryptic texts that made Andie blush, and even challenged Andie to a mini dance-off at a party. Every attempt Andie made to annoy Bri somehow became another moment that made Bri smile, and Andie secretly loved it. That night, they found themselves walking home under the streetlights, teasing each other endlessly. One accidental brush of hands made Andie's heart race, and she realized that what started as a game had become dangerously real. The following evening, Andie invited Bri to a quiet dinner, under the pretense of research for my article. But the atmosphere was anything but professional. Between laughter, stolen glances, and playful jabs, the tension became nearly unbearable. "Why do I feel like you're actually enjoying this?" Bri asked, smirking. Andie froze. I don't know. Maybe I am." Her voice barely rose above a whisper. Bri leaned closer, her eyes sparkling. "And maybe I am too." Neither said the words "I like you" outright, but the air between them was charged. It was the kind of moment where time slows, and every playful shove, every teasing remark suddenly felt loaded with something more, something neither of them had expected, but neither wanted to stop. By the end of the night, the game's rules were irrelevant. Both knew the real challenge wasn't winning or losing, it was admitting how much they actually cared. By day 7, both Andie and Bri were hopelessly tangled in feelings they could no longer hide, yet neither wanted to admit it. Andie, worried that Bri would figure out her 10 ways plan, started pulling back slightly. Bri noticed and misinterpreted it. "Is she done with me already?" Bri wondered aloud to her friend Thayer. Or was this all a game? That night, they ran into each other at a gallery opening. Andie, trying to act aloof, joked a little too sharply about the absurdity of their experiment. Bri's smile faltered. "You know, I thought this was fun, but maybe I was wrong," she said quietly. Andie's heart sank. She had wanted to tease, not hurt. But Bri, feeling rejected, walked away, leaving Andie standing alone with a mix of panic and regret. The next day, Andie couldn't focus on work. Every text, every call, every memory of Bri replayed in her mind. The truth was unavoidable. She liked Bri far more than she should have allowed herself. Meanwhile, Bri was at the office, staring at her phone, replaying Andie's jokes, laughs, and quirks. She realized that this wasn't about winning a bet anymore. It was about wanting Andie, no rules attached. By evening, Andie decided to take action. She showed up at Bri's apartment, bouquet of wildflowers in hand, looking both nervous and determined. "Okay," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "I'll admit it. I didn't want to push you away. I like you a lot." Bri's eyes widened, then softened. "You mean you like me like me?" Andie smiled sheepishly. "Yes, like you. And I think you like me too." Bri stepped closer, laughing softly. "Finally you admit it. Took you long enough." She pulled Andie into a warm, teasing hug. "I like you too. Way too much to let a silly challenge ruin this." In that moment, the games were over. But the real adventure, the one with laughs, chaos, and love, was just beginning. With only a day left in the 10-day challenge, Andie and Bri were fully aware that the rules of the game had become irrelevant. Both had confessed their feelings, but pride, embarrassment, and lingering doubts made them hesitate to fully let go of their teasing, playful personas. At a company event, Bri stood on the stage for a presentation, and Andie couldn't help but watch, heart pounding. Afterward, Andie approached, nervous but determined. "So, the challenge is over," she said teasingly. "But I guess the real question is, what now?" Bri smiled, taking Andie's hand. "Now? Now we stop playing games and just be us." The tension of the past 10 days, the jokes, the teasing, the ways to drive each other crazy finally melted away. Both realized that they didn't need challenges, deadlines, or articles to define their relationship. They just needed each other. The final day of the challenge arrived. Andie's article was written. Bri's bet was technically completed, but none of that mattered. The office, the cafe, even the city lights all seemed to fade away as they walked together hand in hand. At the park, Bri pulled Andie close. "You know," she said, teasing, "I was going to try to make you fall for me, but I think you beat me to it." Andie laughed, resting her head on Bri's shoulder. "Well, you made it a little easier by being absolutely impossible to resist." They kissed softly under the glow of the evening sky, laughter and love mingling. The 10-day experiment had ended, but the real story, their story, was only beginning. As the credits of their lives rolled, Andie and Bri walked off together, hand in hand, ready for the next adventure. Without games, without challenges, just love. 10 days. 10 chaotic, hilarious, heart-fluttering days. Andie and Bri had entered a game, each with their own agenda, only to discover that love doesn't follow rules or deadlines. As they strolled hand in hand through the city, laughing at their own ridiculous antics, Andie realized something. Sometimes the best stories aren't the ones you write, they're the ones you live. Bri squeezed her hand gently. "So, think you'll ever write an article about this?" she teased. Andie smiled, leaning into her. "Maybe, but it would have to be called How I Fell for a Girl." Bri laughed, kissing her forehead. "I think I'd read that." And so, the experiment was over, but their adventure had just begun. No games, no challenges, just two girls ridiculously in love, and a lifetime of chaos and laughter waiting for them.